what's up, Pokemon trainers? I am your co-host, Dragon Bees, once again joined by my fellow co-host, Cinder Shots.
How's everyone doing? Hopefully everyone's doing wonderfully well. Thank you for the support, first of all, on the first episode. You guys are absolutely insane.
Going into today's episode was like, alright, I feel a little better now knowing that we're not just a piece of you-know-what.
I mean, we still are.
Well, we are.
People chose to listen to us.
They like listening to a train wreck, apparently, but that's okay.
Thank you very much for that. It's been amazing.
I will say you're going to be dealing with two very sleep-deprived people today. I'm caffeinated to the eyeballs at the moment, due to work.
I'm not.
Oh, you're not? Oh, that's even worse.
No, I don't drink coffee. I don't drink coffee or tea or anything like that.
Oh, you don't?
So I'm drinking as much water as possible and seeing if I can survive the rest of the podcast.
Coffee in my life is like my lifeblood. If I had the opportunity, I'd hook it up to an IV and just wheel it around with me.
I can drink it, but it's nothing. I can drink it if I really, really need it, but I never choose to because it's just not a nice taste.
Why is there not a coffee Pokemon? We have not Poltergeist. That's an actual thing. Sinistea and Polter, whatever the other one is. Poltergeist. That was close. There you go. And Sinistea. So we have a teacup. Why do we not have like a coffee mug? Like, I want a coffee mug.
What type would it even be? Ground? Oh.
Ground and dark.
Nice.
Because you grind coffee and it's usually dark in colour. So there you go.
Ah, Jesus Christ.
So there you
podcast.
Go. Put that out there. Game Freak, give us a ground dark coffee Pokemon, please.
Well, they didn't give us much anyway. What a segue. Pokemon Day was the other day.
Yes.
A
whole list of things that were not... Well, some of it was predictable and some of it was like, alright. I don't think
you say a whole list of things, but like... There was not as much as people expected. Granted, what did show up, we got an awesome raid event going on at the moment.
Yeah.
Sword and Shield with the Mewtwo, which can't be caught, but still, you can get some good stuff from it. And the Kanto starters.
The Kanto starters is cool. I'm really excited by that. I haven't actually had a chance to check that out, and I'm hoping to over the weekend. But even though this is, spoilers, this is recorded in advance. Just to put that out there. Yeah, and then the whole Mewtwo thing, I mean, I'm not necessarily against it not being catchable because I know that they're planning on making it catchable later on. I think it's just a nice way to farm for good stuff. I mean, it's incredibly hard from what I've heard to beat Mewtwo.
I haven't tried it yet. I've done a couple of raids. I got a couple of Kanto starters, but that was about it. I haven't had much time with it, and I haven't come across a Mewtwo raid yet. I am not looking forward to it.
Well, apparently he can attack 4 times per turn.
Oh my god.
So, like, he could, if you don't bring a strong enough team, it's going to wipe you.
I think it's a mix of bringing a strong team and a mix of bringing people you can communicate with.
Yeah.
I think this is the first true example in Sword and Shield where it's like it benefits you to have a team you can cooperate and communicate with rather than just having random people and saying, oh, we've got good Pokemon, we've got a type advantage, we'll win. It's not going to be like that.
What are you talking about? The bots are great with like Magikarp and Togepi, and I mean they'll just absolutely,
Yeah, I love having a Wobbuffet that uses the opposite move to what it should. It's great.
Look, no hating on Wobbuffet. Wobbuffet's amazing. It's the trainer that's the problem.
Oh no, it's awful. So Pokemon Day, I can't even focus. Pokemon Day, we had some events coming for Pokemon Go in the next month or so. More so based around just pump as much content related to the next film as possible and just see what happens, and then just see how many people buy into it. I guess. I mean, I say that like I don't like the game. I do. It's not that I don't like the game. I just think it's a bit. What's the one I'm looking for? Bees, help me out.
I'm not sure what you're aiming for, but
so Pokemon Go had it's still going really well, and it has a very dedicated community. I just feel like everything's being dragged out way too much. I feel like it's not. I feel like it's not as special as it used to be.
No, I know what you're saying. I think I think they're trying to, and this is what I've thought for a while. I don't get into Pokemon Go as much as I used to, but I feel like they are dragging out releasing things for it, and I don't know whether that's like a profitability thing or trying to encourage people to, like, I don't know, buy some of the stuff off the store so they can catch specific things if they haven't got enough, or I don't know what their ploy is, but I feel like some things have been dragged out a little bit long with Pokemon Go. And there's a lot of repetition too, you know, and that's also a bit frustrating. But I guess, yeah, they've got a dedicated base of people who are playing it, so if it appeases them to some degree, I guess they're not going to change how they're doing things to some degree. I mean, I enjoy Pokemon Go as a casual basis. I'm not like diehard, oh my god, I have to. But yeah, I think there are elements of it that they are stretching it out too far. They are trying to, you know, milk it for more than it's worth, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, this is a bit of a tangent. Before we carry on, but talking about Pokemon Go, have you watched competitive Pokemon Go battling?
No, I haven't actually.
It is weirdly enticing. Like, you watch it and you just can't. It's weird because it's simple, but there's still a lot of depth to it. And you wouldn't expect that, but there is. When was it? It was last year at some point, and there was an event going on. There were competitions going on in multiple games. There was trading card game competitions, Ultra Sun and Moon at the time, and Pokemon Go was the first ever Pokemon Go tournament that Pokemon hosted. And it was fascinating. I was watching it. I think that's the game I watched the most.
Oh, really?
Which is hilarious because I don't play the game anymore, but it just happens. But yeah. Pokemon Go is a wild game still, and I could see the love and passion behind it, and I can understand it. It's just not a game that I play much anymore.
So the other thing was the Google Pokemon of the Year countdown was also shown off on Pokemon Day. I was actually,
which is wrong, by the way.
Which is what?
It's wrong.
Well, look, all right. I have to also go. You know, my favorite's not on there. But I'm not necessarily against most of what's on the list. I think that...
Oh, agreed.
There was probably one or two that I was a bit like, I wasn't expecting that. I mean, we can go quickly through the list in order from 10 to 1. So 10 was Gengar. Not surprised. Gengar's always been popular.
I'm surprised it wasn't higher, to be honest.
Yeah, and I guess especially with it being one of the G-Maxes in Sword and Shield as well, I thought, you know, it's had a bit of a resurgence as well. Nine sort of shocked me a little bit with Gardevoir. I was like, all right.
I'm surprised that's in top 10.
Yeah, I was like, okay. Because the only time I ever really think of Gardevoir is actually Smash Bros. because it's one of the assistants or the Pokeball Pokemon. And so, like, because it hasn't, to my knowledge, I've sort of been dropped in and out of the anime a bit. I haven't really seen it much in the anime either. So I don't know. It's just, it was a weird addition considering there's like 800 Pokemon or whatever, and it's like, that's in your top 10.
Yeah.
Right?
It really threw me off. It's like, of all Pokemon, and that was ahead of Gengar as well.
Yeah, which was also really strange. What I also have noticed with this list, and I guess that comes down to, I mean, there are a couple of exceptions, but then they're also kind of tied to previous gen Pokemon, is that it's very Gen 1, 2, and 3 heavy, heading into 4. It's a lot of the earlier stuff, and I guess that's also exposure over many years, whereas, you know, there wasn't... I'm surprised there wasn't any... Yeah, there's definitely not. Any Pokemon from Sword and Shield. I'm
surprised Snom wasn't there.
I'm surprised Snom wasn't there. I'm surprised Yamper or Boltund wasn't there because people love Yamper.
Cinderace.
Yeah, Cinderace wasn't on the list. So there was a few that I was a bit shocked that weren't there. But number 8 was Rayquaza. I'm not surprised by that. Always sort of been popular. I mean, it speaks for itself. A friend of mine...
And overpowered.
Yeah, exactly. A friend of mine calls it the green space noodle. So I remember when because Rayquaza came to Pokemon Go a while ago, and I remember it was something to do with a community thing or something, and like they were going on about trying to catch a green space noodle. So that was a thing. Just put that out there. If the person who I'm talking about is watching this, they'll know exactly that I'm talking about them. So that's hilarious.
If you're watching this, If you're watching this, I want to meet you and shake your hand. Like you just given me the best nickname for a Rayquaza now. That's amazing.
Green Space Noodle was great. Number 7 shocked me a little. With Garchomp, I was a bit like, all right, it's another one of those.
Garchomp deserves to be up there.
I mean, I know it's popular. I thought it might be, like, up there, but not top 10 for me. Like, I was like, yeah, I know it's popular, but I didn't think it was that popular.
Well, the thing is, like, when you think of... If you played the Generation 4 games...
Yeah.
And you think of the Elite Four, that's the first Pokemon that comes to mind.
That's true.
For most people. That, and it got a Mega Evolution in Gen 6/7, I don't know exactly, don't hurt me.
Yeah.
And it was an absolute pain to deal with, even without a Mega. Like, it's always been a pain in the ass to deal with, and it's always been strong. It's always been popular. That and the fact as well is it's known as Cynthia's Pokemon, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose there is that factor. Yeah, like it wasn't as shocking as Gardevoir, obviously. But yeah, it was just for me. It was like maybe top 20, but top 10 was a bit like, all right, considering how many Pokemon there are. Number 6 was Sylveon. I'm not surprised by that. It's a little bit higher on the list than I thought it would be, but people love Sylveon. Like,
Sylveon deserves to be top 3.
It's like evolution-wise, you know, most of the evolutions are popular, and Sylveon was so well received, especially because, you know, it was introduced with the fairy typing, and it's like, that's really cool. It's actually a really cool design, because people were speculating what it was going to be type-wise at the time, because it was shown before we knew about the fairy type.
Yeah.
So... yeah, that's cool, and I can accept it being in the top 10. And I mean, it's the same with number 5, with Umbreon. Like,
Sylveon and Umbreon should swap places. I'm going to stick to that opinion. I'm probably going to upset people with that opinion. I know people that say that it's right, and Sylveon should not have been on the top 10 entirely. And to those people, I say Sylveon should be swapping places with Umbreon. Umbreon, I do like. It's always been good. It's never been great, but none of the evolutions really have, apart from really Jolteon and...
Fun fact with Umbreon, Shiny Umbreon's my favourite shiny.
Oh, it's such a cool shiny.
Especially when you see people do... A lot of the artwork, like fan art stuff and that you see, is always, or most of the time, Shiny Umbreon, and it just looks incredible.
Yeah, well, there's a reason, because Shiny Umbreon looks amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Like that, the blue is a nice addition. So then we have number 4 is Charizard. I'm not surprised that Charizard.
That was expected.
It's expected. I actually expected it to be top 3. I'm a little shocked, but not because I personally would pick it in my top 3, but just because Charizard is like the darling Pokemon of forever. Like, it gets so many reiterations throughout every generation. You know, it got Mega Evolutions, it got G-Max versions, it's been featured heavily in the anime. Like, it's everywhere.
Here's the thing, like, I expected it to be in the top 3 for the same reason of I'm not surprised it's in the top 10, because it's always been known as one of the faces of the franchise.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Because of its prominence of being same as Garchomp is Cynthia's Pokemon, Charizard is Ash's. Obviously alongside Pikachu, but Charizard has always been that face.
Yeah, absolutely. Number 3 was Mimikyu. Mimikyu makes sense.
My ghosty boy.
I was going to say, I can accept that. Mimikyu is amazing. Mimikyu is such a popular Pokemon on every level.
Played a huge role in the Gen 7 anime. Huge role.
You know, and it's used in competitive. It's used, you know, it's everywhere. You know, yes. Even when you go looking for merchandise, you can usually find something Mimikyu related, which is, you know, that's a sign of things. The runner-up was Lucario. Once again, not shocked.
No, I disagree. That baffles me.
I mean, I'm not saying it should be runner-up, but I definitely think it would be in the top 10. And the reason being...
I'm saying... Oh, go on.
The reason being, from my perspective, is it's featured in movies, it's featured in the series, it's featured in Smash Bros. It's got merchandise coming out of every direction. It's popular on so many levels. I mean, it was correct me if I'm wrong because I didn't play much of it. It was in Pokken Tournament.
Yes.
You know, it's just been... It's a bit like Charizard, maybe not quite to that degree, but it's been featured so very heavily. People like the design of it. It's a very well-designed Pokemon. You know, and it's had Mega Evolutions, the Mega Evolution is amazing. So yeah, I guess that's from my perspective. Once again, it's not necessarily one that I'd put in my top 3, but I know someone who would, and he shall remain nameless.
To be ahead of Charizard though, like to even be ahead of Gengar, I don't have anything wrong with Lucario. I think Lucario is a solid Pokemon of its type. It's got an amazing typing. Competitively, it is amazing.
Yeah.
Its Mega Evolution was one to be feared in Gen 7. And it's always been a cool Pokemon. I don't see it as a Pokemon that I see as prominent as Gengar and above. I don't think it should be in the top 10, but I can, to a degree, understand why. I just don't think it should have been as high, especially not past Charizard.
I guess it's coming down to, we got to take into account here that this was a popularity vote as opposed to its usefulness and its impact. It's more so, I like this Pokemon, and so I guess that's why Lucario has featured so highly on the list. Is that I'm not surprised it is because it's popular. A
lot of people know Lucario. Exactly,
and I guess that leads me to number 1. Which is Greninja. Greninja, I'm shocked it's number 1, but I'm not shocked that it's so high. And it's a bit like Lucario. It was so well received when it was announced as the final evolution for the starter for Froakie. And it was the design and the fact that it has featured incredibly heavily in the anime, and you know, so there's all those factors. Once again, it was in Smash Bros, and so it's not just exclusively within a Pokemon game. It's been featured in other Nintendo media. So it's that popularity thing. It's a great design. I love Greninja's the look and the concept behind it. So that's a big selling point for me with Greninja.
2 words.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed. Like, Greninja is Gen 6 starters. I'm not a huge fan of. I like them. Apart from Delphox, I think Delphox is a mess. But Chestnut is a cool design. I do like Chestnut a lot more than other people do. And I know that fighting type starters are very cut and paste at this point. Like, they're just so dry now.
Yeah.
But that was a good design in my opinion. Greninja was a great design. Its shiny is amazing. Its Battle Bond version is a beast.
Yeah.
Like, no matter who you ask. But I think it got blown way out of proportion. I think it... Not that it doesn't deserve it, but there are Pokemon that I think would have been... Even in this like kind of popularity contest, which it essentially was, I feel like there are a lot of Pokemon that could have fit the number 1 spot way better than Greninja could have.
Yeah, I agree. I 100% agree that I was shocked that Greninja was number 1. I'm not surprised it's in the top 10, but it was like... I would have even expected Charizard probably in number 1 over Greninja. You know, I think there's a few Pokemon that could potentially have filled that void that were better suited. But I guess it comes down to personal opinion too.
Yeah, like, I'm sad but not surprised.
No.
But yeah, it's a weird one for me.
Very telling about this, and you know, this is from my perspective, of course, and when it comes to this kind of stuff, you know, we're speaking for our own personal opinions as opposed to, you know, representing any kind of community. It's very telling that a couple of very well-known Pokemon and used quite often aren't on this list, and I think it's primarily because of oversaturation.
Charizard.
Yeah, which I'm surprised. That's the thing. Charizard's sort of bucking that trend a little bit, but Pikachu's not on the list, for example. Like, it's the company's mascot basically, and he's not even not even on the list. Clefairy was another one that came to mind because it was so like ingrained in Gen 1. And is featured quite often in promotional material for things. Mewtwo was another one that I was surprised didn't make the top 10, or Mew.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Because Mew and Mewtwo have always been popular. Togepi, simply because of the impact that Togepi had in the anime. And there's always Togepi merchandise and things like that. So there were some really weird omissions that I thought were not even, like, they're just not there, and it's like, okay, is that because people are tired of them? Because if the list had featured more Pokemon from more recent generations, I would have gone, it's because the current generation of Pokemon players are picking what they are familiar with from the current lineup, whereas this is featuring Gen 1 stuff. Now, you could say that Let's Go, Pikachu and Eevee have also had an impact, and it probably has. But in saying that, why is Eevee not on this list either? There's 2 evolutions, but Eevee is being used as well. So there's lots of little things that's like surprised. But, if this list was extended, I would love to see what was in even the top 20 or 30, considering there's like 1 billion Pokemon at this point.
Well, there was an infographic that was released of the top 30 Pokemon from each generation. And it was on Twitter somewhere. I'm going to see if I can find a picture again while I'm talking about this.
Yeah.
But there's one thing that I found hilarious, was that there was a couple of Pokemon, at the top of a generation that didn't make it in the top 10. Because even though they were at the top of their generation, they still didn't have a vote to end up on the top 10, which I found fascinating. One thing I loved and got upset about at the same time, weirdly enough, was Chandelure. Now, I spoke in the first episode of the podcast, if you listen to that, how much I love this Pokemon. It is the Pokemon of my brand, essentially.
Yeah.
Fun fact, Chandelure was the top voted Pokemon from the Unova region.
Wow.
But it didn't make it in top 10.
Yeah. But
I've got it. No, I have.
How many of those Pokemon in the top 10? Because I'm drawing a blank here at the moment. Are from the Unova region?
There was no Unova Pokemon in the top 10,
and that's very telling. Because if it was the case, then that means that would mean that Chandelure would have been in the top 10 if that was the case. Because it's
wild.
I guess the other thing from my perspective is that more recently, and this is me talking about obviously my branding and mascot and etc., is that Dragonite has just come back with a vengeance, obviously in the anime.
Yes,
and so I think it was a little bit too late because it's only just happened, and this vote just didn't time well. But I think if it was redone, I wouldn't be surprised to see some of the ones that are being featured in the anime perhaps make it to this kind of list, because the anime has such an impact on things. And I get because I've noticed that even merchandise wise, usually at the selling point for me with any Pokemon and its popularity is if they're going to start making merch for it, it means that that's something that people are after, because they don't generally make merch for stuff that's not going to sell.
Well, it's just a demand thing, isn't it? Like if a Pokemon is popular, then they're going to want to represent it or see it on things that they're going to use on a daily or regular basis. So
Absolutely.
to have Pokemon that are popular on like clothing items or like snapback caps or anything along those lines, they're going to be happy with buying it because it's a Pokemon that they love. It's a Pokemon that everyone loves, and it's recognizable as well. It's kind of like that community sense where you go out, for example, wearing a Dragonite shirt, and it's instantly recognizable by someone saying, "Oh, I know that that's a Pokemon related thing," and then conversations can spew from that. If you had merchandise of a Pokemon, say, I don't know, Sork from Generation 5, people will think you've just got a random blue man in a robe. You know what I mean?
If that was the most obscure Pokemon for you to come up with, then like, I wonder what he's going to say.
That's the point I'm making.
I know.
That's the point I'm making. Like, there's so many Pokemon that are so indistinguishable from each other, and so many Pokemon that are so quickly recognizable, and Sork is not one of them.
I was going to say, I want Game Freak and Pokemon Company and all that. I want a Sork shirt. Just give me a Sork shirt.
I will happily cosplay as Sork or Throw whenever I go to a gaming convention. I do not care.
Oh, that's just funny.
Let's move on, shall we?
Yeah, I was going to say, I didn't expect us to spend as much time on the Pokemon of the Year thing, but like, I guess
Let's move on to something that we can both be happy about. Side note, hashtag justice for Dragonite and justice for Chandelure in the comments, please. Thank you very much. We got a new mythical Pokemon announced.
Yeah.
The Rude Sandstorm is here.
I'm sort of 50-50 split on this new
Oh, I love it.
I like the design. But I'm of the mindset, I don't know, it doesn't scream mythical to me for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe because I've only seen what they've shown off here. I guess when, you know, like the movie and whatever's comes out and we actually get to use this, and I might, you know, but it kind of feels like the angry cousin of some of the other monkey Pokemon.
It feels like an angry cousin of Zeraora. Like,
yeah.
Tell you what Game Freak have done. Game Freak have done. What if Rillaboom, but villain?
It's like what if he turned to the dark side? Well, then you'll meet Zarude.
What if he left the drum kit and became a singer? Like,
yeah, it's just so bizarre. Like I
can't wait to use them.
It's also giving me very, and this might sound weird, it's giving me very Obstagoon vibes as well. It's that same sort of like, black and white grungy sort of like. It's something that I could quite easily see someone like Piers using in the game.
Oh, just like a Pokemon he finds and trains up type thing.
Yeah, it's got that vibe about it.
His typing is fascinating to me. We've had the Grass Dark type before. In Gen 3, that was Shiftry, but I don't think we've had one since.
No.
And Grass Dark is an interesting typing. Guaranteed to be able to learn fighting type moves. Let's face it.
Oh, it's going to be.
It looks like something that's going to be able to learn super power or close combat at least.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, you can't go by everything with that though, because I mean, recently someone brought up about, I think it was actually Cody who retweeted or tweeted this, and it was like certain Pokemon learning like Ice Punch and Fire Punch and whatever that don't even have arms, but then there's a fighting Pokemon.
I saw that tweet.
Yeah, and then it was like ones that have got arms can't learn Ice Punch or stuff. It's like, it was it Kyurem?
Oh God,
or something like that. Something that's got ice arms couldn't learn Ice Punch. It's like, what is this?
But Togekiss can.
But Togekiss can. Yeah, so as much as logic would predict that Zarude will be able to learn fighting moves because of its design, I'll wait and see when we actually get to see that as to whether that's a thing.
I want to see Zarude come out with Thunder and Surf. Like, I
absolutely.
No matter how it looks, I want this thing to be a special attacker and just confuse it.
I want it to be able to flap its arms like wings and fly.
No. Zarude, use bounce.
Exactly. Jeez. But I mean, like I said, I like the design. I'm not sold on it as a mythical Pokemon yet because I don't know enough about it to be able to sell it to me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I do, the design is cool, and it looks like it's got like vines wrapped around its arms and that, I think.
I'm not too sure what they are. Tell you what, they look like floating armbands when you go swimming last time.
Oh, they'll be alright when it uses surf, it will float. Yeah, you see, that's the logic behind it. Yeah, exactly. What else was announced as well? There was they showed a trailer for the Pokemon Coco movie, which there's a shiny Celebi.
Yes, and there's some sort of hint that Zarude has some sort of like thing wrapped around him that could be a reference to Celebi shiny, because the number on it's pink and the number on it is Celebi's national dex number.
Yeah, I did see that.
There's this whole idea and rumors to like, well, not rumor, but like idea of what's Pokemon going to come out with next. What's the link between them, and how are they going to play this out? Whether it's going to be a Pokemon Go event, or maybe it's going to be something in the games, like a special event. Maybe we'll get a shiny Celebi event. Yeah,
it's possible. I mean, it's cool just to think that the shiny Celebi. I don't know if that's yeah, okay.
Is someone dying?
No, it's all right. The dog decided that it needed to run out because someone's come home. So yeah, so I guess it's I like the shiny idea of shiny Celebi being in. And I like that Zarude's gonna, but I don't know. I guess people could be reading into it a little bit, but I did see the thing about the 152. Reference, so it'll be interesting to see. I mean, I was just looking at Celebi, and that's on the description here. It says the trailer shows Coco living with the Pokemon in the forest, but before too long the forest is under attack and Coco falls off a cliff to be saved by a Zarude who raised Coco. So yeah,
I'm intrigued as to how that's gonna play out. I'm gonna want to watch it. I'll probably be very late to it and end up watching it a year and a half after it's released.
Oh,
but I do want to watch it at some point.
That's usually what I do with the movies.
Yeah. Or I'm going to miss out on an event on Sword and Shield because there'll be, for some reason, I won't be able to play for a year, and then I miss out on a Mythical, which is why I didn't get Zeraora in Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. I'm totally not triggered by that. And yeah, I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah.
Pokemon Day, there wasn't really much else announced. I mean, we had a Pokemon Masters event involving Red and its Charizard.
Yep. And I think they spoke about what's coming up soon with that, and I think they announced some new pairs and things, and yeah.
Yes. I think, what's her name? This is not good content because I've just forgotten her name, and that's going to bug me like crazy. But, yeah, the new Pokemon Masters event, the trailer was interesting because Red spoke. But,
oh, God, yeah.
And then Flint was very surprised. It was quite hilarious to see.
Oh, so it was Red and Charizard, then they had Blue and I assume Blastoise, and then it was is it Leaf? I think they call the green one Leaf, and
yes.
They had Venusaur. They also in the last few days, I think as well, spoke about another sync pair called Elisa, and she has a Rotom.
Yes, Elisa was the DNS gym leader from Gen 5. Crap. Which one? Gen 5. I almost... See? Comments? I saw you typing.
Somebody's typing.
Generation 5. She has a Rotom, which I'm surprised about, because her gimmick was she had an Emolga in the games.
Yeah, some of the pairings have been a bit strange. I
love Rotom anyway, so I'm not going to complain. But like,
I love Rotom too, but you know that's because I'm using it in the gym challenge.
Yeah, that damn Rotom Frost.
My Friggy boy.
So with the Pokemon Day news happening, of which there was minimal compared to previous Pokemon Days, there was a lot of stuff that people were expecting that we didn't get news about at all. I'm going to mention this or else Cody might kill me. He wasn't happy about the fact that there was no, even a teaser or something to a possible Gen 3 Virtual Console release.
Yeah.
Which I am surprised there's nothing about that, to be honest.
But I guess, see, in their mindset, they probably would be thinking, because, God, I'm going to get them all mixed up here. Gen 3 is Ruby and Sapphire Gen, isn't it?
Correct.
So...
I thought you were a Pokemon trainer.
Oh god, look, I dropped out Gen 3 and 4, so I get the two mixed up around the wrong way. So because they've released Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby, they may not prioritize that as much as that would be cool to have it on the Virtual Console. I guess it's sort of been covered a bit more. I would like to think that Gen 4 would get either a remake or some sort of you're
gonna make me cry. I was sad to see that there was no Gen 4 remake news. I've been hoping for it for years.
I get the feeling that Pokemon Day wasn't going to be used for that level of announcement. I get the feeling that it will be saved for something more prominent. I was going to say E3, but E3's a bit hit and miss these last few years.
Yeah.
But
I think the main focus was on the movie.
Yeah, the movie and what they've already got out, what's coming to it kind of thing. I'm surprised that there was no further DLC news as well for Sword and Shield. Because I guess they want to be able to sell that, but if they don't, give us more information. But there's still time.
Yeah, exactly.
I also don't mind that we don't get too much information. As much as I like knowing things, sometimes a surprise is a better thing for certain things, and I guess that is personal preference for me. So that sort of shocked me. I guess outside of that, they're the few main things, is that we didn't get any DLC news. As Cody said, there was nothing about Gen 3 games even for Virtual Console, which I know some people are after, and there's been lots of teasing about Gen 4 remakes and stuff, so time will tell with that. I'm surprised
we can only hope. We can only blooming hope.
I mean, I'm surprised there wasn't a tease of something.
Yeah.
There wasn't.
There might be, we just haven't noticed yet. That's a possibility.
Oh, they're great at that.
There's a possibility there's something in the trailer that we've missed. We don't know.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I think that was really Pokemon Day had to offer, which I say that like it's a bad thing. There was still quite a bit of information. So I don't think it was a bad one.
No.
I think that the focus was obviously on the movie and the mythical links between that.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been significantly worse, and that's the thing. We've seen worse announcement to things like this, and everyone's walked out going, "Well, that was fun." So that's always interesting. I'm just scanning through to see if anything else has come out since Pokemon Day. There was just some Pokemon Go news. So they've announced stuff for March. They're talking about the next. It's confirmed that be facing Giovanni in March as a result in Shadow Entei being available.
Ooh.
There are going to be 3 special raid weekends: Darkrai raid weekend, so you'll be able to find shiny Darkrai, and then altered form Giratina, and then Cobalion towards the end, and Lugia, which will also know special attack of Aeroblast. So there's a few cool Pokemon coming out.
Interesting to see that they've only used one of the Swords of Justice. I'm interested to see where Virizion and Terrakion are.
Yeah. I'm guessing...
Unless they've already been released, I haven't noticed and I'm just a moron. But I don't think they have.
No. I'm also blanking on whether they've been... I don't... If either of them, it might have been Virizion, but I doubt it. And then they're also doing a global takeover, Go Rocket global takeover, which Poison and Dark types will be more prominent in the wild, including Absol. Skorupi will be available from then as well, so that's cool. And then they're doing a Psychic Spectacular, which will be it includes the release of Solosis and Gothita. And Solosis will appear during the day and Gothita at night. Abra, Drowsy, Rolt, Spoink, Boltoy, Wynot, Beldum, and Gothita and Solosis will appear in 2K eggs, and Shiny Boltoy will be available as well. And Thundurus will be available in raid battles from March 2nd with no set end date. So,
I love that. All these psychic and poison types. Oh, by the way, thunderous.
I was going to say, I just read that at the end. I'm like, well, we'll just tack that on the end there. Yeah.
Oh, man. Gotta give the high level players something to do.
So yeah, exactly. So that's all the news really, I think, covered, more or less.
The only thing we can talk about now really is the latest gym challenge news.
Yeah, this week's been interesting.
Yeah, week 4. As of recording this right now, 4 of the 6 battles have taken place. Obviously, we had the wonderful bees that I'm talking to right now against the ground type. How did that go? In your words?
Okay, so I didn't get my dream of 1 and 3 and being the only thing I've beaten is my weakness, but I did surprisingly better, and I actually caught Hags off guard. At one stage there, I actually had him believing that I might actually take him out. My Frost Rotom was key in that. I did manage to take down his Excadrill, which has been an absolute beast in the gym challenge thus far. But it did come down to being... he started off with his... I always say the name wrong. Runerigus or whatever it is.
Runerigus, yeah.
Yeah, and he used Toxic Spikes, so I had to deal with that the entire match. And then what clinched it towards the end was Hippowdon or whatever it is. The Hippowdon.
Close enough.
I'm so bad at pronouncing some names. And so that kicked in Sandstorm as well. And he just earthquaked me to death with what I had left. So yeah, I got an early start off with Gavantula, and I was able to sticky web and slow everything down. But yeah, and Frost Rotom did really, really well. So that was also a positive. But Frost Rotom and Gavantula were my 2 keys here, because I tried to use Dracozolt, and at that stage his Pokemon were too quick even with Sticky Web. So it was good.
That's what I thought. Like, your Lantern, I'm surprised didn't do as much, but then I look at his team and think that's still quite a fast team for ground types.
Exactly, and he probably prepared for that, knowing that electric types are notorious for being quite quick. For the most part, I think he was also caught off guard because my Rotom is actually really quick, and that's awesome. So yeah, no, it was good, but I did lose. But I did take out 4 of his Pokemon and had him on the ropes at one stage, but he did pull it back. So I'm 0-4, which is wonderful. It's a nice feeling.
There's a certain battle I want to leave to the end. I think you know which battle I'm. I don't know if you've seen what's actually happened.
Yeah, we'll leave that one to the end.
We'll leave that to the end. We also had Steel versus Psychic, which ended in a 1-1. But Silver got the win. Was that a time?
Yes, that was a time ending, and my assumption is that Silver had higher HP at the end there.
Well, the only Pokemon that he had left was Lucario against Matt's Reuniclus. So I'm surprised that Matt didn't out-recover the Lucario, unless Reuniclus was left low HP early on in the match. Like I say, I need to catch up matches. But that, if ending on a 1-1 and ending in time, that must have been a crazy match.
Well, I was going to say, here's the other thing. No, obviously not to discount Matt here, obviously, but Silver has been an absolute beast in this challenge.
Yes.
And I am just blown away. This match must have been close the entire time simply because it came down to a 1-1 tie. And Psychic and Steel was a very unusual matchup.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm actually going to hopefully get a chance to watch that back because I'm really curious to see how that played out.
I've been up against both of those trainers, and both of them, I said it in week 1, so I'll just quickly mention it now. Matt's team is scary if it can set up. Silver's team is scary in general.
Yeah.
Silver absolutely destroyed me. So, but I'm surprised but pleased that it was such a close match. Yeah, I need to go and watch that back. We had Poise versus Toby.
No, was it that? No, that was last. Oh no, yeah, that was Poise versus Toby. I'm looking at that's right. The other one was a catch up.
Yeah. We can talk about that one as well. But Poise versus Toby. To some people, not a surprise that Poise won. But Poise still only had 2 Pokemon left.
He only had his Vanillux and his Weavile left.
Yes.
So
going against a Dragapult, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I mean, Toby is also suffering from the loss streak that I am. I think Toby and I are the only two who are yet to win a match. So yeah, I mean, I guess at the end of the day, I don't know, and this is no disrespect to Toby, obviously, because I don't know how much experience that Toby has in battling, but I know Poise has a lot.
Yes.
So he would have, I'm surprised he went this low in numbers just because of his experience and the type advantage. But once again, Toby obviously did something to hold on, which is, and obviously Turtonator and Dragapult got the kills. So, so that's an interesting result there. We'll cover week 3's catch-up match between Poise and Steve, the flying gym leader. Steve won, and Steve seems to excel against his weaknesses.
Yeah, I've noticed that, and
because I'm
up against him today.
Oh, is that who you're facing today? I faced Steve in my first week, and I went in with the mindset, okay, I don't go into any match thinking this is a shoe-in or anything else, but I went into the mindset, I've got the advantage, and electric types against flying types should be fairly straightforward. Steve is a formidable opponent, and so Steve taking out Poise is impressive. Especially going against some really strong ice types, and I know that they've also got good move sets. So like
cough, Galarian Darmanitan cough.
So and it's not as even if one of his Pokemon did all the damage with Steve's. Other than his Mandibuzz, everything got a kill.
Yeah.
His Togekiss is a tank, and his Noivern is usually pretty good, but Noivern had a very strong disadvantage here. And then I'm glad to see his Cramorant. we know how much Steve loves his Cramorant. So
please tell me as much information as possible. I need as much help as I can get.
Steve is an interesting trainer. Steve will pull some things you won't be expecting. I don't think there is. What I'm worried about. I don't think there is a good way to approach battling Steve. He seems to pull out the just most unexpected moves, and I think that's absolutely to his advantage. I
think what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to purely out-predict his moves. I don't think there's anything else I can do apart from just try and outplay, or when push comes to shove, just out-damage. Like, his team, I know that his Corviknight is a pain, because his Corviknight plays, from what I've seen, in a similar way to my double.
Yeah.
Where it's just a physical wall with a move that benefits off of high defense. So
yeah,
it's going to be interesting to see who loses their physical wall first. And I think that's going to play a key role as to who might win that match. And I think we'll find out who had a chance of winning early on in the match. As soon as our defensive prowess on both teams goes down, it's all to play for, and it could be anyone's game. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the match, shall we?
So, absolutely. Don't get me wrong. There are other matches coming this week, but they've got a lot to live up to hype-wise with this match and its result.
Blue Jay is so bad.
Blue Jay, the Fairy Gym Leader versus the Ghost Gym Leader. So it was Blue Jay versus Cody, and this came down to the finest margin that you could ever possibly have in any single battle that could ever exist.
Want to specify the margin?
So Cody won with one Pokemon left, which was his Dusknoir.
Yeah.
With 1 HP left.
Man.
My absolute, and for lack of a better word, because I can't think of a better word, condolences to Blue Jay, because I would have probably thrown my Switch across the room.
I would have cried, rage quit the stream, and just stayed silent for a week. Like, Blue Jay is a lot more of a better person than I am.
From what I heard from Cody's comments afterwards, is that she came in just like a bull at a gate, and caught him off guard from the get-go. She had him set up for failure from the beginning, and he said that he was completely just overwhelmed. At one stage there, I believe she had knocked out 3 of his Pokemon, and he hadn't done much to hers.
Yeah.
So he managed to come back from that, which would be even more frustrating for Blue Jay. And then win it with the smallest margin that you could ever win a match. Like, I'm sure it will feature in the highlight for week 4. If it doesn't, I'm going to question that. And considering,
it's going to be there.
Unless it's a salty Blue Jay, because Blue Jay does the editing for the highlight reel.
I'm not putting this in.
I can just poor Blue Jay will be editing it and going, I don't want to put this here. It hurts. It's like throwing salt in the wound. But no, I'm not saying Blue Jay's like that, but it's like
Blue Jay's wonderful.
It's just, yeah. I mean, there have been some crazy results previous weeks. There was one that I'm trying to think. I think it was in your match, wasn't it?
What happened?
No, it wasn't you. There was another really close match. Actually, I think that also featured Blue Jay.
Yeah, it was another one of Blue Jay's matches. I think it was when she was against...
Was it
I could be wrong, but I think when she was up against Ice.
Was it Ice or Dark?
I
don't remember.
Honestly, I can't remember which.
So there have been some... There's been.
It was Dark, I think.
Yeah, and so, and I think Blue Jay lost that match too. Poor Blue Jay gets Blue Jay's getting the raw end of the deal here. There's obviously some, I mean, there is a little bit of luck as well with some of these things, moves miss all the time, that kind of thing, but that's not to discredit the winners, obviously, but yeah, the random, is really just, it's got it in for poor Blue Jay. So we
have one more match. We have one more match of the week. We have Levi. This is happening on the same day of recording. There are 2 matches that need to happen this week. As of recording this, happening today. It's my match versus Steve, and it's also Levi versus Dan, Dark versus Poison. What are we thinking? Both trainers have a Drapion.
Oh god. I've only battled Dan, and Dan's team is very it's another team that once it's set up, it's hard to overcome.
Yeah.
I haven't had a chance to really see much of Levi's battling, so I don't know. If I had to base it on my experience, I would say that it's probably going to be another close one, but I think Dan might just pull that off.
I love everyone dearly. Levi, I've had a lot of time to talk with. He's a wonderful person, as everyone else in PTH is. But I think I've got to give it to Dan, because the pressure that his team has, just down to the Pokemon he has. Yeah. He has such an unbreakable presence, and what I mean by that is his team is going to be really hard to whittle down.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, Levi has his T-Tar, he has his Hydreigon, and he has his Malamar. Pangoro can also do a lot of damage and take hits, but Dan has a Drapion, has the Wheezing, which notoriously is hard to bring down. Has the Haunter, which I've heard has always been a pain, no matter who's gone against it. The Toxapex is just a Toxtricity and Salazzle, great attackers. I don't think it's going to be close.
Yeah.
But I think Dan might have the edge on that one. But we'll have to wait and see what happens for the match later on tonight.
Yeah, and I mean, in your battle that I can't pick.
Go on then.
I can't pick someone simply because, other than one match, you've only lost one, correct?
Yes, I lost against Silver.
Your team is formidable, and I think with Steve's team being unpredictable, I think this whole thing is. I don't know, and it's not just because I'm obviously recording this with you. It's just it's one of those situations where I can't sit there and go either or. I think that the result is going to be very interesting to see whether it was one-sided or close, or or you might. I wouldn't even be surprised if you ran time.
Yeah, I don't know if I think I might have to. The only issue is I don't really have many Pokemon that can pull that off. The thing is, my team, with the nature of how my team is laid out and how it's set up, it's with what each Pokemon's task is to do and what everyone's role is, it's fairly predictable.
Yeah.
And I know that that's a weakness of my team. When you look at my Pokemon, you can easily say, okay, this Pokemon has this job. This Pokemon's going to be doing this against my team. This Pokemon's going to try and do this. Whereas if you look at Poise's team, for example, Mamoswine can be a pain in the ass offensively or be a defensive tank.
Yeah.
Frostlass can come out with Will-O-Wisps any time of the day or Shadow Ball your life away. #bars. Silver's team, Aegislash does both. Bronzong can come out with a Trick Room, a Rain Dance, or just try and Psychic or Flash Cannon you and do as much damage as possible. With my team, it's obvious what Pokemon are going to be doing. Some Pokemon, a couple of Pokemon are somewhat defensive. One definitely is. The rest are attackers, and Ditto is Ditto. So
yeah, exactly.
I think I'm not gonna give too much away, but I think for this one, my win condition is either the tank battle between Double and Corviknight, or the hypest Ditto imposter copy you'll ever see. Like, those are my two win cons. I don't think Obscure could do damage, but so can Togekiss.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I genuinely don't know.
Yeah, so those results will be interesting. So
these matches will be done by the time this podcast is out. So,
yeah, so you'll be able to see what's happening with that, and the results will be posted on the in the Discord, I think, and
on the Twitter,
and on the Pallet Town Heroes Twitter as well. So I think we'll leave because after week 4 is finished, the gym leaders have the opportunity to trade out one Pokemon, and so they will actually be starting to be announced once they're all locked in sometime in probably over the weekend or next week or whatever. However that works, I don't know specifically the plans there.
If I was to guess, I'm guessing that upon the release of this podcast for the second week, in that week we'll probably be posting news about transfers in that week on the Twitter. So make sure you're following there and keep up to date with everyone's teams and see which teams have decided to go for transfers.
Yeah. So
we will know who's going for transfers, but we'll keep it on the down low for now.
Yeah, we'll let the official Twitter handle the announcements and that, and then we'll address that potentially next week. We'll see how we go. Also, I'm not at liberty to say who, but wait until week 3's podcast. You are not going to believe who the guest is.
Yes. Oh my god. If there's ever any time to subscribe to this channel, on top of the recently released first Shiny highlights video, which, by the way, a great watch, the Gym Challenge highlights videos, these podcasts that come out every Monday, if there's any time to subscribe to the channel, this will be it. You do not want to miss the week 3 podcast.
You don't want to miss the week 3 podcast.
That's all I'll say. We'll tease it probably a bit more on the Twitter.
I was going to say you'll know a few days out who it is. I believe. We're just finalising.
I might tease it. Don't know.
We don't know yet. We'll leave that for Cody's decision. But yeah, we're very excited for next week, and yes. I hope that it when you find out who that you'll be excited by that too. So I think that's about it. I think we can wrap up for this week.
Oh, it's another hour. I like that.
I was going to say, yeah. So, we're good at talking, as you've probably already worked that out, so that's wonderful. And so make sure you subscribe to the channel and ring the bell and all that stuff, because I love saying that just because I feel so cliched saying it. And check out the links below. Join the Discord if you choose to. It's an amazing community. Make sure you check out the Twitter for the Pallet Town Heroes. All the news comes out on there. I think that's about all we can really say at this point.
Hashtag justice for Chandelure in the comments. Thank you very much for listening. And he should have been in top 10.
Anyways.
This is a mess. It's always a mess.
So this has been Dragon Bees and obviously Cinder Shots.
Cinder Shots, of course.
Yep, and who's not salty.
I'm not salty at all. I'm so sad on the inside. Don't miss next week's podcast. It's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. Thank you very much for listening. We'll see you next time.
Have a good week, guys. Bye.